Welcome back. We are having a conversation with Venk, a serial entrepreneur, sharing his experiences for the benefit of the viewers, those who are watching this episode. Thank you, Venk, once again. Welcome to the show.
My pleasure.
Now, you were mentioning about Mel being the second entrepreneurial idea of yours, and you've been successfully running the first entrepreneurship almost for 16 years. My question to you is, in an entrepreneurial journey, you did mention about there's no problem in copying somebody else's idea, but you need to better that. When you're doing betterment of the particular idea which you copied from somebody else, you do it in such a manner that it's much better than what the original idea could have been, and you actually attempt to solve the real world problems. My question to you, when you started the first attempt or the first journey of startup, 16 years ago, you said, right? 16 years ago, you started that. What was the prevailing conditions in the market, and how did you do things differently? And you also mentioned something like that business is still growing and growing very, very strongly. Would you be able to share your experience and how it all happened?
See, the industry I was in, it was a so-called saturated industry. Right?
Really? Okay.
Yeah. When I entered the market, there were already big dogs, big players, small mom and pop shops. Everyone was there.
Interesting.
Popping, because the technology was like, I'm talking about here, 99, 2000, people were talking about Y2K, .com and everything. So when I started, it was not a great year to start, but I jumped into it. I started in the first is September 30th, 1999.
Wow.
That was the first time.
Right.
I graduated in 98. Worked for 1 year in investment banking and then got into this business.
So this idea of becoming an entrepreneur was always part of your passion, is it?
I never knew the word at those days about the entrepreneurship. What is the entrepreneurship supposed to mean, right? But I always had an idea that something I have to do. For me, money is just a utility, right? For me is what have I created to this world? What I've given to this world? What can I do for this world, right? That's always the goal, right? You should be known by your name, not by what you have,
Brilliant.
Right? So I admire a lot of people who are not there, but their name is always there, right? In terms of it, you compare the name versus money, right? So services industry, my first one was the services industry. How better I can do that? I was competing with big dogs, doing a lot of stuff together in one place. But I carved out myself into one sector, focused in one area, that is investment banking. So again, investment banking is a huge area, but then I focus in investment banking. What is hedge fund is my focus area. So I was the first company when I started focusing on hedge funds, delivering tech and functional knowledge kind of people, not just techies.
Sort of a KPO, is it?
Yeah, it's a blend of both tech and the business knowledge.
Fantastic.
So the industry always had either they are PhD in mathematics, like quants guys in hedge funds, or they are pure finance, financial engineering guys. So you would never find consultants or resources having best of the both worlds. Brilliant. So what we did is we took 70% of our workforce was PhD mathematics. I traveled all over the world to get the best resources to United States, and then train them in financial world
models,
financial jargons, models. Because if this tech guy gets some kind of a requirement, let's put it that way,
right,
the guy has to understand what he has to code.
Absolutely.
Right? That was missing in the investment banking sector, right? So I got a mentor. His name is Dr. Kaiichiro Ikeda. He's a Japanese PhD, MIT, total techie, converting himself into an investment banker. So he was our trainer to train my PhD guys who are tech, but didn't know finance.
They didn't know finance.
So I blended both together, gave them a 3 months training online. We developed the first, in 2000, we developed the automated program trading system.
Brilliant.
In-house. Our techie guys traded Google, went public. So we were the first guys to trade Google stock on our platform.
Wow.
And that's the blend that we created, and that's my carving out myself. Like, how do you stand out from the crowd, right? So this is the way I and my team, basically, we put together this strategy to, make ourselves look better.
That brings a very interesting summary. You decided to focus on a particular area
Yeah.
where there was opportunity existed.
Always, yeah.
Number one. Number two, you also thought the right amount of skills
Yes.
is available in the market,
Right.
but the skills were not actually getting matched to the right amount of requirement.
Exactly.
So even if you have a skill, that's
Yeah.
a third point, the skill may not fit in the bill appropriately. Therefore, you are given them inputs in the form of a training.
Exactly.
Therefore, your differentiation is, hey, I've identified what's your need.
Right.
I know what's your problem. So
Right.
you understood the problem statement, and this is what the solution.
Right.
So when I'm giving a solution, I'm actually packaging it.
Packaging
so
it.
that, from day one,
Right.
you get the complete utility out of the resources which you're hiring from me.
That's called productivity of a person,
Productivity of a
right?
person.
Not just having a bill rate of whatever. Those days you can charge any amount per hour.
Correct.
Right.
Right.
So you have to know what you want to give it to your customer as a package, not like bits and pieces.
So is it right for me to say that if your solution are phasing to solve the real world problems, there you go to charge a premium as well. Is that right to understand?
Yeah. So again, the customer himself will, they themselves will say, hey, you know what? I need at any cost. Right?
Okay,
For them,
okay.
it's at any cost.
It's right.
There is no premium or, you can't differentiate in the tech. It's your pain point. If I can solve it,
Right.
the customer is ready to pay any price for it.
Right. So how do you arrive at the commercials?
Commercials are basically, it's all the customers dictate, hey, I can pay you this much.
Okay.
Right now, if you're ready to work with a customer, right, it's a win-win for both. Right? But you don't want to, just because the customer is a global client, you don't want to lose your shirt also.
Absolutely.
So you have to always say no certain times,
Right.
right?
Right.
You have to only say no when you know the customer is either you're solving the problem, but he's not ready to give you.
Absolutely.
Then you have to walk away. Right?
So I think as an entrepreneur, you also need to know what to choose and what not to choose.
Exactly. Exactly. What to say yes to and what to say no to.
What to say
You
no
better say no, it's okay, right? But don't say yes to everything and then put yourself in trouble. Because you're the last one going laughing at the bank. The customer is always going laughing at the bank.
Correct.
So I look at it from that point of view. Right?
So see, I was mentioning in the initial episode, India has got close to about 170,000 plus startup ecosystem registered
Right.
with the startup ecosystem. And one of the statistics suggests close to about 21% of the startups are primarily focusing on the services as an industry.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a shift in focus that some of these startups, those who are engaged in the services industry, primarily we're looking at the Western market for opportunity. That means I call it a dollar income, right?
Yeah.
But suddenly the face of the focus is changing. They are now domestic focused.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Services is becoming a critical player. As you may be aware that India some times ago used to call as a services economy.
Right.
Today
Exactly.
the shift of the government is shifting towards, reliance on
Everything. It's in manufacturing, logistics, you take it,
And we are emerging as one of the largest health tech,
Healthcare.
health
Right.
tech,
Health tech, yeah.
technology in the globe. And we are also becoming a good hub for the manufacturing.
Right.
And we are also wanting to continue the success in the services industry.
Right.
So if I need to ask you as a summary point, when as a startup, I'm getting into services industry, what are the 2 or 3 pitfalls I should be aware of? For example, pricing could be one. If you don't price it right, and obviously you're not going to count your profits. So that could be one beginning. So what could be the few pitfalls a startup, in case if they are getting into the services industry, they should be aware of?
See, services industry is huge, right? Everything needs a service.
For example, if they don't fix the pricing and commercials right, that could be a very bad beginning for them, right? So, like that, how many pitfalls you think they should be aware of?
It's the right resource is the first thing.
Skills,
Having the
right skills, yeah.
Right skills, right resource.
Right.
If what I heard here is there's a lot of unemployment, it's not true.
It's not true.
No.
No.
Every startup, every big corporation, they're looking for skilled people.
Right.
Is the education system good?
Right.
Right? The kind of people we are the youngest population in the world.
Correct.
How are we utilizing their strengths and, how they are getting skills trained, right? What we learn in college doesn't mean that we have to, we can put them in play when
Okay.
you come in the industry.
Right.
Right? So how can we do the both corporate and the educational combined together, right? So those will help us in the service industry, right?
I mean, if your summary point, what you're saying is that find out the right resources
Right resources,
and see if the skills are matching your requirement,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then put them in the play.
Yeah, the fundamentals are very important when you can see skills can be acquired,
Okay.
right? Skills are always acquired.
Acquired.
You can train me in anything as long as I'm ready to learn.
Correct. Correct.
But there are people who just enroll to get the certificate, but not learn the subject.
Right. Right.
There's a difference in,
Correct. Correct.
right?
So the simple way I put it is called ASK.
Yeah,
The S stands for skills,
Yeah.
K stands for knowledge,
Knowledge.
and A stands for attitude.
attitude.
If you have a right appetite and attitude, then
Willing to
probably-
learn, yeah.
Yeah?
Jump for that because of the money you get for that skill.
And they were willing to learn.
They're willing to learn. So then there's another set of businesses starting. Oh, you know what? Let's start training company,
That's a good idea.
right?